Hey, how's it going? Zach D Productions here, and I'm here for a top 5 video for you guys. So for this video, I'll be going over my top 5 favorite Liam Neeson movies. Now, Liam Neeson is definitely an actor that I've grown to appreciate with time, and I've grown to respect with time. And I know that he has a new movie coming out very soon called Retribution, which that definitely looks interesting. I do want to see that movie, so that I believe will be his next movie, which is pretty cool. And I've known about Liam Neeson for a while. I can't remember the first movie I've seen him in. I think it was a movie called Unknown. That might have been the first movie I've seen him in. And I know he was also the bad guy in Batman Begins, which is kind of an unusual role for Liam Neeson. I think that would be kind of an interesting video idea, like actors who normally play the hero, times where they play the villain, or whatever, that type of video idea. Let me know if that sounds interesting to you guys. Because Liam Neeson usually does play the hero. Very rarely does he ever play the villain. So coming up with this top 5, not very complicated, but before we get started with the top 5, I do have a few honorable mentions. So one of the honorable mentions I have is The Marksman. I think that this is a solid movie. I wouldn't put this up there as his best by any means, but I think it's pretty good for what it's worth. So my next honorable mention is one of his more recent films called Memory. Pretty good. I know it got fairly mixed reviews by critics and such, but I think the movie is pretty good. I mean, basically Liam Neeson plays an assassin with Alzheimer's or whatever, which is kind of an interesting concept. Kind of interesting. So, yeah, I think Memory was a pretty good movie. And then my last honorable mention would be Taken 3, which I do think is probably the best of the Taken sequels. I do think it is better than the second one, to be honest, because at least with the third one, they tried something different. With the second film, they just basically made it like a revenge story, like everyone who Liam Neeson killed in the first film, all their relatives want revenge. It's kind of like that type of movie, and it leaves you wondering, like, okay, what's the point of this? But at least with the third film, they did try to do something different. They basically, in this movie, frame Liam Neeson's character for murdering his wife, and he has to resolve that issue and everything. So, yeah, I do think that the third Taken movie is probably the best of the sequels. I don't hate the second movie. I think it's all right, but I just think that the third one is slightly better, that's all. So, yeah, those are my honorable mentions for Liam Neeson movies, so let's go ahead and get into the top 5. So, number 5, I gotta go with Honest Thief. Honest Thief, I was pleasantly surprised by this one. It's a nice little flick. I mean, it's not overly complicated or anything. Basically, the story is Liam Neeson's character is this robber. He has all of this money, and he leaves that life behind him when he meets this woman who works at this storage unit. And basically, his past catches up to him because he wants to turn himself in, you know, and he finds out that there's, you know, crooked people involved who want to take the money and everything, and, you know, they try to take out Liam Neeson. You know how this goes, you know? I mean, you know how a lot of Liam Neeson movies are. I mean, there's always, like, corrupt people that he has to take down, basically, so there you go. But I like this movie. I thought it was really solid, pretty surprised by this one. I thought that it was well-paced. The action, you know, I felt like the action was where it needed to be in the movie. I mean, it's not like over-the-top action or anything, and that's why I say the action is where it needs to be. I mean, not every movie has to have a crap ton of action, like non-stop action. Non-stop, see what I did there? Pun intended. But not all movies have to have, you know, non-stop fighting and action or whatever in order for it to be good. Because I think that that's what makes, you know, the actual action scenes work, and that's what makes them surprising when they do happen, when you have, like, these moments that lead up to the action scenes and the fighting scenes. And I do like that about Liam Neeson's movies. a lot of Liam Neeson's movies are not really over the top like that, which I do appreciate. I think that's totally fine. I think some people might have an issue, well, you know, he's not really an action star because there's not enough action in his flicks. Personally, that doesn't bother me because, you know, I think the action is perfectly placed in the majority of his movies, even in this one. I do like the action in this movie, so yeah, and pretty interesting premise as well. So Honest Thief, I do like this movie for what it is. All right, so at number 4, I gotta go with The Commuter. So basically, this movie involves Liam Neeson going on this train, and he is set up to find someone on this train that he's commuted on for a number of years. His task is to find someone who doesn't belong, and they basically give a description of this person. They're carrying a bag or whatever, you know, and he gets all this money, and you basically find out that it's one of those situations where there was a witness on the train, and, you know, there's all these people involved, and yeah, it's just a really intense film, and I really like this one. This is another film where the action isn't really over the top, and it doesn't really have to be either. Overall, I like The Commuter. It's, I'd say, one of Liam Neeson's best movies. So next, we got Run All Night at number 3. I was pretty surprised by this film. I think that this is one of the more darker films in Liam Neeson's career. And I say that because, well, it seems like there's a little bit more action than what you're typically used to in Liam Neeson's movies. Yeah, I do like the action in this movie. Basically, the plot of this movie is you find out that Liam Neeson is involved in some things. You know, his son gets involved, and it's one of those things where, you know, he doesn't want his son to kill anyone, even if it's in self-defense, you know, because he doesn't want to make him the killer. So Liam Neeson, you know, does all that. So yeah, it's kind of an intense movie. So yeah, I actually really liked Run All Night. I'd say it's probably one of his best films. So at number 2, I got to go with Non-Stop. Non-Stop, basically the storyline to this movie is Liam Neeson is this air marshal who gets on this flight, and he receives a message, and the message basically says every 20 minutes someone will be killed if he doesn't give this individual a lot of money. And you basically find out that there's some people on the plane that are involved, and it's just really intense. And I really like the way that they had, like, the text on the screen in the movie. I thought that that was a really nice little feature to the film, a nice little detail. I really like the way that they added the text on the screen, and even, like, the parts where, like, the phone was cracked and the phone was broken, like, it showed, like, a little crack in the text messages. So I thought that that was a nice detail right there. You know, I like little details like that. I think a lot of those aspects of these type of films work. So I actually really like Non-Stop. I do think it's one of Liam Neeson's best movies. I was very, very surprised how much I like this movie. Again, this is another film where, you know, the action is definitely where it needs to be in this movie. It definitely picks up towards the end, though, as far as the action goes, you know, when they try to land the plane and everything. And when Liam Neeson discovers who the bad guys are. So, really cool movie. I actually really like this one a lot. But at number 1, though, I gotta go with the classic, Liam Neeson's classic, Taken, the first film. I love the first Taken movie. Probably not only my favorite Taken movie, but, of course, my favorite Liam Neeson movie. And I'm sure anyone can pretty much agree that this is his best movie. I mean, it's a classic. I mean, what is there really to say about this movie? His daughter goes on vacation, and of course she gets taken, and he basically has to go wherever she is and, you know, take out all these bad guys and just rescue her, you know? It's a really intense movie, and it definitely didn't need sequels. It definitely didn't need sequels. Liam Neeson, you know, he's being the guy that he is. He's, you know, taking out all these bad guys, and he rescues his daughter. You really just should have left it at that. I mean, you really didn't need to continue it after that. Just saying. But anyway, regardless, excellent movie. The first Taken movie is great. And if you have not seen it, it's definitely worth checking out. So that is my list of my top 5 favorite Liam Neeson movies. Let me know what you think. What are your top 5 favorite Liam Neeson movies? Feel free to let me know. What did you think of this top 5? So feel free to let me know. So with that said, thanks for watching. Have a good one.